Good evening, everyone. My name is Jared Isbell, and I would like to talk to you about a problem that affects each and every one of us on a daily basis. In today's world, where increased personal information is being broadcast in massive amounts over the internet, it is imperative that we protect ourselves with large amounts of data being sent from our home computers, smart devices, etc. We should be using tools that will protect our identities and personal data. One of the best ways to protect yourself is to use a secure and safe operating system. How many times have you heard of a friend whose computer stopped working, or they lost all their family pictures because of a computer virus? Did you know that there is an operating system that effectively protects against viruses and malware? Linux is such an operating system. I'm sure you've heard all the arguments against using Linux. For example, Linux is hard to use, or Linux is hard to install. I don't know how to use Linux. Or the least accurate of all is, Linux is for tech junkies who do nothing but sit in front of a computer screen all day. All of these examples are false. Today's Linux offers installation walkthroughs that are no more difficult than installing Windows or Mac OS. Linux is a diverse and powerful operating system, so it only has to be as difficult as you want it to be. We aren't born knowing how to operate any operating system, so the fear of learning something new is entirely personal. Finally, while many tech junkies utilize Linux for work and play, you don't have to invest your precious hours sitting in front of a computer screen to learn Linux. First, Linux offers software packages that are equally capable of performing the day-to-day tasks you perform on Windows. Many of them perform even better. Linux is free software. You don't have to pay a dime to download, install, or use Linux. Finally, Linux offers the most secure operating system you can find. For instance, let's pretend for a moment that you are using Linux for the first time and need to create a document. Oracle has created a software package called OpenOffice that has the ability to read and create documents in a format that is recognized in both OpenOffice and the Microsoft Office suite. Let's talk about the monetary cost. Have you ever looked at the cost to buy Microsoft Windows? The cost of Windows 7 Professional is $275, and that software's been out since October of 2009. It's 3 years old. With Windows 8 on the way, it still costs you more than $200 for a fully functional operating system. Juxtapose that with Linux. You can visit any number of Linux operating systems and download that operating system for free. The only situations in which you would pay for Linux would be if you wanted to have manufactured CD or DVD discs, or if you wanted to pay for technical support. These options are by no means necessary. You can download Linux and burn it to a disk for free, and use the wealth of information on the internet when you need technical support. Finally, I would like to talk to you about how secure Linux is when compared to any other operating system. Do you remember that time you opened up that email and only later realized that you had infected your computer with a virus, or even worse, when that open virus forwarded itself to your contact list, friends and family, business associates? All that took was an errant click of your mouse. In Linux, this scenario would have been impossible. A virus in an email would have to be downloaded, made to be executable, and installed by the root administrator account in order to infect your system. It is a scenario that few Linux users have experienced, yet millions of Windows users have made that mistake, myself included. So you might ask, how Linux could be so secure. Let me make an analogy. Imagine for a moment that you're a large software development company that is creating a new operating system. You might have a team of 100 or maybe even 1,000 software developers to create this operating system. That means that there are 1,000 eyes reading hundreds of thousands of lines of code, testing it, retesting it, and checking it again. Now imagine you're a Linux developer. You have literally millions of fellow developers looking at the code, evaluating it daily, checking it for bugs and security loopholes. Now think about this. Is there a company in the world that can compete with that? Neither Apple nor Microsoft have the personnel to look into their operating systems as effectively as the Linux development community does. In closing, I would like to remind you that Linux offers you the same options that Windows and Macintosh would offer. Linux is free to download, install, upgrade, and use. And Linux is the most secure operating system in the world. I'd like to thank you for attending my presentation tonight, and I hope that you have Linux in your future. Good night.